Hello everyone and welcome to my video lecture series. So today our video is going to be on the dihybrid cross and the third law of Mendel, which is called as the law of independent assortment. So let's start with the topic. In my previous video lecture, I have already covered the monohybrid cross. I have covered both the laws, the first and the second law of Mendel, and I've also made a video on the monohybrid back and test cross. So if you haven't seen the videos, kindly do the same first and then you can watch this video. It will become much more easier. Anyway, starting with our topic for today, which is the dihybrid cross. First of all, what is the meaning of a dihybrid cross? So we have already studied about the monohybrid cross. A monohybrid cross is a cross in which we take any one particular character of the pea plant and show the cross. For example, we had shown the cross between a tall plant and a dwarf plant, right? So over here we are just choosing a single character, okay, and that character is going to be the height, okay. And since both the parents are pure, one of the parents has a dominant trait and the other one has a recessive trait, you know that. So this is called as a monohybrid cross, in which we only take one character into account. However, when we talk about a dihybrid cross, we take two characters into account. Please remember. So now for this example, let us take two characters into account. First is going to be the height of the plant, right? Again, height shows two traits. The dominant trait is basically tall, and that is represented by capital T allele, whereas the recessive trait is dwarf, which is represented by the small t allele. You know this. And the other character that we are going to take for this example is basically the shape of the seed, okay, shape of the pea. So I'm going to write down over here shape of the seed. And now the pea plant shows two shapes. First is the round shape, okay, and that is the dominant character, and that is represented by capital R, please remember. And the other shape is called as wrinkled, okay, and the wrinkled shape is represented by small r, that is the recessive character. So the capital letter denotes the dominant allele, the small letter or the lowercase letter represents the recessive allele. So we are going to take both these characters into account, height of the plant and shape of the seed. So now again, following the way Mendel did the cross, he always took pure parents, okay. So obviously in this case the pure parents are going to be, I will just change the color, pure parents are going to be capital T, capital R, and this parent will be called as a tall and round parent, and it will be crossed with a parent which is a completely recessive pure parent, will be a dwarf and a wrinkled parent. I hope this is clear. Please remember that whenever you are showing a Mendelian cross, okay, you have to always take pure parents and start the cross, okay. So it is going to be tall and round with all dominant alleles and dwarf and wrinkled with all recessive alleles. Is this correct? So over here we will designate parents. Please remember to write down the designation. Next step is we write down the gametes. So I will write down over here. The gametes are going to be of one type for each parent. So I'm going to directly write down the gamete. So how do we form gametes? Very simple. From every character, take one allele. Over here, both the alleles are same. Both are capital D. Both are same. Both are capital R. So obviously the gamete is going to be only of one type. That is going to be capital T and capital R. Similarly over here, if we want to remove the gametes, if we want to find out the gametes, it will be small t, small r. Is this clear? So these are the gametes, and when we unite the gametes, what do we get? We get the F1 hybrid. So let me write down over here, F1 is first filial generation, that is obtained when both the parents are crossed, both the pure parents are crossed. So here the organism is going to be capital T, small t, capital R, small r. And what will be the phenotype of this F1 hybrid? The phenotype of this F1 hybrid following Mendel's law of dominance is going to be tall and round. However, please remember, it is not a homozygous individual, it is a heterozygous or a hybrid individual. What do you mean by hybrid? Hybrid means that it is having both the dominant and the recessive alleles for each character. Is this clear? Whereas both the parents are homozygous parents. Is this clear, or pure parents? Now, following Mendel's law, what do we do with the F1 generation? We self it. So indirectly we are going to perform a cross between capital T, small t, capital R, small r, and capital T, small t, capital R, small r. This is the cross that we are going to perform. Is this clear? So now let me just scroll down. Now, using the checkerboard method, everybody knows the Punnett square or the checkerboard method. First of all, what will be the gametes of this organism? So this capital T, small t, capital R, all small r, this hybrid pea plant which is there, what will be the gamete? So now please remember, from each character you take a single allele, okay, and join it with the allele from another character. So by doing that, first of all, let me choose capital T. So I'm just going to write down the gametes over here. The first gamete is going to be capital T. And now, since I have already taken one letter from this character, I have to choose the next letter from the other character. So let me choose capital R. So capital T, capital R is the first type of the gamete. Next type of gamete is, now let me again choose capital T from the character of height. And now let me choose small r from the shape of the seed. So the other one is going to be, extremely sorry, capital T, small r. The third gamete, now we have exhausted both the possibilities of capital T. So now we take small t. So it will be small t and shape capital R, small t, capital R, and last possibility will be small t, small r. So now these are the possible gametes of the F1 hybrid. Since we are selfing, the other organism is also the same, the gametes will be same. So by doing the Punnett square method, we can actually show the F2 generation. So now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to basically draw that Punnett square. All right, so we are going to take just going to scroll downwards. Okay, we are going to need some space. Okay, so let us do that. So we will be having approximately 16 individuals. I hope everybody understands that. Okay, just drawing a Punnett square with 16 boxes. And also please, when you are drawing these boxes, don't draw small boxes, because you have to write the genotype and also the phenotype inside the box, so that it doesn't become confusing. Is this clear? Now let us write down the gametes on top. So first gamete will be capital T, capital R. Second will be capital T, small r, small t, capital R, small t, small r. And over here same gametes. So just write them down, small t, capital R, and here small t, small r. Now let us just combine the gametes and write down the offspring. First offspring will be capital T, capital D, capital R, capital R. This will be which offspring? This will be tall and round offspring. So let me write it down over here, tall, round. All right. Again, the next offspring is going to be capital T, capital D, capital R, small r, which is again going to be tall, round. So I'm going to write down over here tall, round. As soon as this phenotype changes, I'm going to change the color so it becomes easy. Now the third one, when we write down, it is again going to be capital T, small t, capital R, again that is tall, round. Okay, please remember the law of dominance. If the dominant gene is present, it will show its effect over the recessive gene. And the last one will be capital T, small t, capital R, small r, which is again tall, round. I hope you are getting this point. Now coming to the second row, the first organism is going to be capital T, capital D, capital R, small r. Again it is going to be tall, round. So all the phenotypes up till now which we have got are tall, round. Now look at this next phenotype. It is going to be capital T, small r, and that is going to be tall, wrinkled. Now let us use a different color for that. So I'm going to use the orange color, capital D, small r, which is tall and wrinkled, so that it becomes easy for us when we write down the ratios. Now again, when we are going to write the next genotype, okay, the next genotype is again going to be capital T, small t, capital R, small r, that is again tall, round. So out of the 7 offsprings that we have got up till now, 7 are tall, round. The next one is going to be, now it is going to be again capital T, small t, small r, so that is again tall and wrinkled. Okay, so that is the thing. Now coming to the next one, again it is going to be capital T, small t, capital R, that is tall and round. So I hope everybody is understanding how I am joining the gametes, okay, and I am making the individual. Now the other one is going to be capital T, small t, capital R, small r. Again this is tall, round. So out of the 10 offsprings that we have got right now, we have got 8 of them which are tall, round. So they are obviously the most dominant type of offsprings. Now the next one is going to be small t, capital R, that is a new type of offspring. Let us write down with yellow color. So small t, capital R is dwarf and round. That is the first time this phenotype has come. So we have written it down with a different pen. Again the next one will be the same, small t, capital R, small r, which is again dwarf and round. Please remember this. Okay, so 2 dwarf rounds. Now coming to the last row, and again we have our dominant phenotype back, capital T, capital R, small r, which is again tall and round. Is that clear? Okay, then the next offspring is going to be capital T, small r, so that is tall and wrinkled. So let us use the orange color again, capital T, small r. So we have got 3 tall wrinkled plants up till now. I hope the color coding is making it easier to understand. Then the next is going to be again small t, and that is going to be a dwarf and round plant. So yellow color, small t, capital R, small r, so that is dwarf and round. So we have got 3 dwarf round phenotypes as well, and the last one is going to be everything recessive. So for this we will be using the blue color, and that is going to be dwarf and wrinkled. Please remember this, and this is the only dwarf and wrinkled plant which we have got. Now this is what we have got 16 offsprings, and this is also called as the F2 generation. So let me label it down over here. This is the F2 generation. So this is our cross up till now, right? We have first taken the pure parents, we have taken the gametes, we got the F1 hybrid which was tall and round. We selfed it using the Punnett board or the checkerboard method, okay, Punnett square method. Please remember, I will write it down if you want over here. This is called as PUNETT, Punnett square method, or it is also called as the checkerboard method. Is this clear? Now we have to write down the ratios. Now what will be the ratios? First of all, coming to the phenotypic ratio, so let me write it down over here. The phenotypic ratio will be what? So you are basically seeing 4 different types of phenotypes, okay, and what are those phenotypes? Tall, round. So how many tall round plants are present over here? If you count, we have got 4 plus 2 6 plus 3 9. So the phenotypic ratio is going to be 9, which are tall round plants, right? Then we go to tall wrinkled plants. So tall wrinkled plants are how many? There are 3. So 9:3. Now we have finished all the phenotypes having tall. Okay. Now let us go with dwarf. So first combination is going to be dwarf round. There are 3 phenotypes, so 3, and last is dwarf wrinkled, that is 1. Are you getting this? Okay. So over here, if you want, I will write down. These are all tall round. These are all tall wrinkled. This is dwarf round, and the last one is dwarf wrinkled. I hope this is clear. Okay, so the phenotypic ratio in a dihybrid cross is always 9:3:3:1. How do you make sure that the ratio is correct? Just add up all the numbers and they should be equal to the number of F2 offspring. So 9 plus 3 12 plus 3 15 plus 1 16. Total offsprings we have got is 16. Now what is the genotypic ratio? Now the genotypic ratio is very, very big. Genotypic is basically every organism having a different genotype will be showing a different, will be counted as a different numeral. So I will just write down the genotypic ratio. The genotypic ratio or the genotypic ratio is I will write it down in a different color. 1:1:1:2:2:2:2:4. Is this clear? I'm not going to write down which genotype is 1, which is 2. That you can easily find out. Again, when you total this, you should get the number 16. So this make 4, this make 8, 4 plus 8 12, and 4 16. So this is the thing. Please remember the phenotypic ratio, and this ratio is also called as the dihybrid ratio. So the phenotypic ratio 9:3:3:1 is also called dihybrid ratio. Similarly, when we study the monohybrid cross, the ratio 3:1 is called as the monohybrid ratio. Is this clear? Okay, so I hope this cross is clear. So that is the dihybrid cross. Now coming to the third law of Mendel. What is the third law of Mendel? So I will tell you the statement. The statement says that in a cross between two organisms, pure for any two or more characters, or when you cross two organisms showing two or more different characters. So over here we are showing two characters, one is height, another is shape of the seed, right? So in a cross between two organisms showing two or more characters, the inheritance of one character is independent of the other. That means what? The inheritance of the height character is independent of the shape of the seed character. So what is this exactly telling you? When we get this hybrid which is tall and round, this tall character, the alleles which are present in the tall character, that is small t and capital T, they are not going to influence the capital R and small r, which are basically responsible for the round shape of the seed character. Both these characters are separate, and that is why when you form the gametes for capital T, small t, capital R, small r, when you form the gametes of the F1 hybrid, you got all the possible combinations. That is because the alleles of one character do not control the alleles of the other character. Alleles of the height character, capital T and small t, they do not control alleles of the shape of the seed character, which are capital R, small r. So capital T cannot control capital R or small t cannot control capital R or small r, or vice versa. So that is why it is also called as law of independent assortment of characters, wherein if you are having more than one characters while doing a cross, each character is assorting independently of the other. Each character is basically forming alleles or genes independent of the other, and that is what is happening in gamete formation. So that is why when you form the gametes for capital T, small t, capital R, small r, you are getting 4 gametes. The alleles from one character cannot influence or cannot control the alleles of the other character. So you get all the 4 combinations, and that is why when you self the F1 hybrid, the final offspring that you are getting is small t, small r, which is a complete recessive plant. Is this clear? So this is somewhat similar to the law of segregation. However, law of segregation is given with respect to the separation of alleles, right? Whereas law of independent assortment is given with respect to the separation of characters whenever we are taking more than one characters into account. Suppose if I show you a tri-hybrid cross, so let me scroll down. Suppose if I show you the cross between a tall, round and a yellow plant, so that cross again with respect to Mendel will be what? Capital T, capital T, capital R, capital R, capital Y, capital Y. This is the dominant parent crossed with dwarf, small t, wrinkled, small r, and green parent, small y. Now, when you get the F1 hybrid, you will get the hybrid like this: capital T, capital R, capital Y, small y. This is again a tall, round and yellow plant. However, when this plant forms gametes, all the alleles of the individual characters, they will not influence the other characters. For example, T, R and Y, they cannot influence each other. That is why all the alleles of every character, they independently assort, or you can see each character assorts independently. So height of the plant, shape of the seed, color of the seed, all these 3 characters will be independently separating from each other, and that is called as law of independent assortment. So if we come to this example which we were doing, then over here in the F1 hybrid, both the characters, height of the plant and shape of the seed, they are independently separating from each other. They are separating their genes or alleles independently, and that is why it is called as law of independent assortment. I will again repeat the statement. In a cross between two organisms showing more than one character, the inheritance of one character or inheritance of alleles of one character is independent of the other character, or it is independent of the inheritance of the other character. So that is the law of independent assortment. Now we have finished all the three laws of Mendel. So let me write down the law over here. This is also called as the third law of Mendel, which is also called as law of independent assortment. I will add down two more words, of character. So each character is assorting independently. Height is a character, shape of the seed is a character, color of the seed is a character. Is this clear? Okay, the statement goes like this: in a cross between two pure parents having more than one characters, that means two or three dihybrid, trihybrid, okay, the inheritance of one character is independent of the other. That means each character is going to separate or assort independently. Is this clear? So that time when we studied the second law, law of segregation, law of purity of gametes, we were talking about the segregation of alleles. Each allele separates independently when gamete is formed. Here we are talking about character. Each character, now each character is having two alleles, right? One dominant, one recessive. So each character separates independently and it is not controlled by the other character. That is the difference. This is the third law of Mendel. Please remember, first law of Mendel and third law of Mendel, law of dominance, law of independent assortment, they are not universally applicable. They cannot be applied everywhere because some of the examples are there where law of dominance is not followed. We'll be seeing them in the next lecture. And again, law of independent assortment is also not always followed. Sometimes one character controls the other character. So first and third law cannot be universally applicable. They cannot be applied everywhere. However, second law, which is law of segregation or law of purity of gametes, that is applied everywhere. So that is universally applicable law. Please remember. So with that, we end our lecture on the dihybrid cross and Mendel's law of independent assortment. If you like this lecture, please put in a thumbs up. Do subscribe to my channel if you haven't. That is very, very important. And also press the bell icon so that you get regularly notified whenever I upload any new lectures. Please share this video with your friends and thanks a lot.